Have you looked
Am I
into?
coming in I usually do it?
Are you what?
Am I clearer than I have been or more just the same?
You sound about the same to me.
Oh, okay. As to what you were gonna ask?
Just wondering if you've looked more into that church shooting.
Yeah, I've been following it. I've made quite a few comments about it.
But yeah, it makes no fucking sense to me. Like this white super MAGA guy shoots up a church, shoots up a Mormon church. I like some commie dipshit. I don't remember who. There's so many of them, but I commented on their status yesterday because they're like, "Oh, look, it's another right winger committing terrorism or something like that." And I was like, "Well, myself, I'm far right, and all of my right wing friends, we all despise this guy for what he did. And how does that? And how does what he did fit into the MAGA agenda exactly? Like, since when do we hate Mormons? Or I shouldn't say we. I'm not MAGA, but like, since when does MAGA like stand
Yeah,
against
I'm
Mormons?
not gonna say that that's most Christians of other denominations. I know it isn't, but there is that loud minority.
I mean, I certainly have my issues with La Mormons, but I don't have a problem with like individuals if they're like a good, like a good person. It's like I can't hate a good
No,
person.
you
Yeah,
you you take you take issue with our theology, and that's fine. We've been able to disagree on that in the past.
Yeah, basically.
but yeah, that's as far as it goes for as far as like as far as I know, with the right wing in general, like a lot of us don't like Mormons, but we're like, since when? Like this was my argument. Since when do we want to like eliminate you guys? That's never been on the agenda. So like this has to be a psyop, or this guy was like truly batshit crazy,
Oh,
something like that. But it doesn't
I
line up
have
with our views.
I have a bit of a theory. I have a feeling maybe they might have noticed that people on the right have been unified for an abnormal amount of time in regards to the whole Charlie Kirk thing happening and everything surrounding that. I have a feeling this might have been, and you know how the feds always do stuff. They always do stuff like this to divide people. They find some
Mm-hmm.
extremely mentally ill person. Then they try to just use someone like that. It's like the perfect scapegoat to basically try to divide us further.
Yeah,
Oh no,
Especially when
that's
there's
exactly what
recent
this is.
especially when there's recent strides in unity.
yeah,
Well, that's no, I can assure you that's what this is. There's already things that don't add up with the official narrative. There's already so much contradictory information about the attacker. I actually reposted a guy on my timeline, Archaeos, if you want to go through that real quick. At least us within the Mormon community have already picked up on what this is. So you've hit the hammer on the nail, is my point, Scurvy Rum.
I see.
I mean, the feds, like, they planted nearly 300 people in the crowd on Jan 6. I'm sure you guys remember the Vegas shooting. I think that had to have been a Fed.
Yeah, I saw that.
That is the only thing that makes sense with that story. Like, clearly our government is against us. Like, we are ruled by traitors, as is the UK. It's kind of the theme of the West lately. We're all ruled by traitors. No way this was organic. No, I don't buy it.
Yeah, there's absolutely something up with this. I know for me, it's like this had like the timing of this too. That's something else that I've been thinking on. It's like the timing of this as well. After everything that has happened, Irina Zarutska, Charlie Kirk, and now this. It's like I wonder how much longer this is this is going to continue.
The
Because
first thing I noticed was how soon this happened after Russell M. Nelson passed away. For those guys who don't know, the president of our church passed away the night before this happened.
I didn't know that.
oh,
The president of your
Yep,
church? I didn't even know that was a thing.
it is. So Christ is the head of the church, right? So the mortal man who speaks on his behalf, who leads the church, or rather follows Christ in church leadership, we refer to as the president because he is not the head. It's very much a title thing, very similar to Alexander Hamilton's proposal of a sort of pseudo monarchy to juxtapose what Jefferson was proposing for what the republic would be. The title was still president.
So I wanted. We can keep talking about this. I think this fits in with the subject too. But I wanted the
what is the
subject.
main subject, by the way?
I was just about to say scurvy. I wanted this to be about how basically the right wing is useless. How
I see.
our leaders, the right wing leadership, is useless. And I feel like, especially after debating, quote unquote, Andrew Wilson yesterday, I feel like they're useless on purpose. And I can't shake that feeling now. Like, why are we so aggressively not doing anything about the position we're in? And as much as I've been criticizing the right, even within our own circles, namely Spoon, there's no change. And I posted a while ago that I think Spoon and Scrump are both psyops. It's the only thing that explains
Remember that.
it's the only thing that explains why they are so aggressively useless, and yet they have much bigger followings than I could ever hope for. Why? Why can't you change a little bit? Why can't you improve a little bit? Be less useless? Why? And then someone like Andrew Wilson, much bigger audience, and he's not a monarchist. He wants a 1776 style republic, basically like how America started. That's the kind of republic he wants. He doesn't want a monarchy. So all of our medium-sized right wingers to the bigger ones, all of them are like status quo or just plain useless. Every single one of them. But anyone who actually wants change, truly wants change, no one pays attention to them. They don't have an audience. They don't have anything. They have no backup. And the ones who do have backup are the ones who are useless.
I see. I get where you're coming from.
I also want to highlight something we have spoken up on the podcast before, but I think we should reiterate because I followed a series of responses to a comment you made, Archaeosophy. I think it was in response to Andrew Wilson. And one of the things he asked is, does it maybe have something to do with the kind of leader you are personally? Paraphrasing, of course. But whether or not you, Archaeosophy, are a suitable leader it isn't the point. The point is we don't have people in any positions of influence who are actually willing or able, I can't really
Yeah.
say on every one of these figures, to rally people and get them behind a cause. Just
Yeah.
anything really. Forming monarchist societies, or even something as retarded as going back to ye old 1776, just anything.
Yeah, that was my point. I remember the conversation you're referring to. I don't think it was with Andrew Wilson. It was with someone else. I don't remember who. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it was someone else. Yeah,
that was my point. Like, it's not about why won't people listen to me? Like, if you think that's what I'm trying to get at here, you're fucking retarded. It's why won't the right wing follow anyone really into a different future, especially monarchists. Monarchists, most of all, most of all, should always have some sort of leadership. You would think, but ever since I joined the community, I'm the closest thing we've ever had to that, and trying to take that mantle. I've just noticed okay, you guys are not really that into this. So what's even the point? Like, we're not willing to lead or follow. So what's the point? We may as well just be Democrats, lowercase d. I remember who it was now. Some guy with like 100 followers who unfollowed me after that argument. He's like, you're just so, even though I agree with you, or even though we agree on pretty much everything, like you're so black pilled and bitter. I don't like you. And I was like, all right, bye, dude. I don't give a shit if you like me or not.
I mean, you are, but for good reason.
Yeah, it's not because like I just want to bitch about things. Like, more than anything, I want to be positive, but everyone keeps disappointing me. I don't think I'm that picky. Just want to see a little effort once in a while, but I don't ever see that.
I get what you mean. Sometimes I kind of feel the same way about my own little corners of the internet I'm part of. It's like, man, I wish some of my fellow Christians would care a bit more about politics, because politics absolutely does affect the faith, mind you. Because in hard times, we're not even allowed to practice.
And I kind of woke up this morning with a bit of an epiphany. I'm still thinking about it. I'm not entirely sure about it, but I think Andrew Wilson specifically might just be a sociopath. And I'll explain that. I'll explain why I think that. He and I are on the same side. What led up to our debate yesterday was one of the things I said to him, I explained to him, or at least made clear, is that we're on the same side. We're both right wing, we're both Christians, and yet the way he spoke to me was like I may as well be some like blue-haired super commie. He started to do his like name-calling, insulting thing before I had even made any arguments. And he said like, you're not worth a video chat, and this will be over in like 20 minutes, so let's just do a space. And I'm just thinking like, Andrew, how is it not obvious that we're on the same side for the most part, and yet there's this one thing I disagree with you? How is it not really obvious that I'm just trying to look for the right answer here? And he completely failed to understand that I am one of his friends. We are on the same team. And he completely failed to understand that, or even care. He did not approach that debate yesterday, if you can even call it a debate. He did not approach it in any good faith. In no way did he approach that like, I'm just someone who's looking for answers, and I want to know why we disagree on this, even though we agree on pretty much everything else. Andrew approached it like, I'm just an enemy who needs to be humiliated and silenced through humiliation. Like he said outright that I'm not even worth like doing a proper debate with. Not even worth that. Before I'd even made a single argument. And I just think, why? Why treat someone who is in pretty much every sense your friend? Why treat me like this? And so once again, and you guys know that I've been skeptical of Andrew Wilson for a couple months at least. So this predates our debate yesterday. But I don't know what the guy stands for. I've watched dozens of hours of his debates with numerous people. I still don't know what he even stands for. I still don't know what he wants with the world. I don't know if he stands for anything. What is the point of Andrew Wilson? Is he even trying to change anything for the future? He has 5 kids, I think. Rachel had 3 before him, and then they had 2, I think. So you have kids. You should be thinking about the future. What are you doing for that future? From what I can tell, nothing. Because I can't even tell what you stand for. And I've asked other people this, like, what do you think Andrew Wilson stands for? What future does he want for his country? No one can give me an answer. So he approaches disagreement with his own side the same as any enemy. So he doesn't even distinguish between enemy and friend when there's a disagreement. The only people he interacts with are people that he can get some kind of profit from. And no one can even tell what the fuck he even stands for, which is kind of an argument for he doesn't stand for anything. So it's kind of hard to believe that he has good intentions of any kind. Of any kind. But what do you guys think? I wanted to discuss this with you.
Let me think. Let me think. Just a teensy bit.
If you need a moment, Scurvy, I'll go ahead and give my thoughts. So, I think the conclusion you've come to, Archaeosophy, is the same one you did with Nick Fuentes as well, which is indicative of prominent or right-wing content creators in general, is their, I won't use the term well-being, but their notoriety is very much contingent on content creation, which is something you've also mentioned. And all this sounds like to me is this just seems to be indicative of that yet again. So even if all these right wing prominent figures do have principles and beliefs and values, which some they may or may not. Of course, have to be careful with how I take too many broad strokes. But what they do have in common, well, is that they are content creators of some kind. And as long as things aren't in such a dire place to where content creation is not viable, let alone even possible, depending on how bad things may eventually get, there's no incentive for these people to do anything more than what they're already doing. The incentive structure to rally people to push for genuine change is just not there. Not for them.
I'm gonna have to slightly disagree. With Nick Fuentes, he has said, in fact, very recently, he has said that he intends to be a leader, that he intends to shape the future. He has said that outright. So I at least
props to him for that much.
I at least know that much about him. He is on a mission of some kind. I just disagree with how he's going about it. But I do think he cares. I can confidently say he cares about the future, and he doesn't even have kids. He doesn't even have kids.
Yeah.
And he cares about the future.
I also clarified I was trying to be careful with very broad strokes, since I was thinking about possible exceptions, like admittedly Nick Fuentes, as much as I've been following him much lately. I was I knew he had to be up for something, because last time I talked to Bennett about this, trying to understand why Bennett was throwing all of his weight behind Nick Fuentes, he kept bringing up stuff that I think may have even brought up to you as well, about some of the things he said over the years. Well, basically, even if you and I disagree with his approach, that is, I guess, an example of someone who, as you just said, actually cares. But are any of the things that he wants to try to achieve the way he's doing it actually viable? Even as well as intention as Nick Fuentes may be, and suppose that his approach works, we still don't know what his plan is. He has ideas, but that doesn't mean he has plans. So, say for example, your village is attacked. Let's attack them back is an idea. Let's burn their livestock is a plan. He has ideas, but not plans. Not to my knowledge. And if I'm wrong on this, great. I'd like to hear what they are.
Yeah, I think his plan, if you can even call it that, is very long term. Like he wants Groypers to eventually run for office and go to the best colleges and shit. Like he's basically like trying to raise them and encourage them to like go into all these important fields. And eventually
to that,
like there'll be so many Groypers in so many important positions that's how the country changes, which is optimistic. if you really believe that we have that much time to spare.
That's basically going to be my next point, and I'll just say here what I said to Bennett. Assuming the West doesn't collapse by then, maybe that is a great plan. The issue is, the issue is, I don't believe we have long, not to really make it viable. I hope it works out for you groypers who think this is a viable strategy. If it does, great. I just don't know if it will. I don't know if we have the time.
I don't think
There's
we do.
arguably very little time to. There's hardly enough time to rally together as is, especially with how divided we all are still, even after everything that's happened.
Yeah, I don't think we have that kind of time. And even if we did, it's really optimistic. It's like overly optimistic that groypers will be the only ideologues in these positions. Like, dude, these are not like empty vessels just waiting to be filled by groypers. Like, you're gonna have opposing viewpoints to compete with. So it's too optimistic in every sense. There is no future where like only groypers and their philosophy are the ones who are going to college, running for office, all the above. Like that's kind of nonsensical. So I disagree with
It's
I disagree with Nick's approach, but I don't doubt that he cares. He's too honest to be um something you'll notice about
Politician.
something you'll notice about honest people. It almost always stems from a genuine care for something. You can't really be an honest person if you don't care about something intensely. And I've noticed Nick Fuentes is a deeply honest person. Like even to the point where he goes against his own groypers about Israel being behind Charlie Kirk. I think Nick Fuentes cares. Of that I am certain.
it's just a shame that his approach seems to require infiltration, is depending on stability, and his enemies have the advantage in all fields. Our enemies as well.
Yeah, our enemies are doing everything they can, even like going into illegal routes. Like they are literally they are literally shooting at us now. They
Yep.
really are doing anything they can to win. And Nick's approach is, well, just give it time, and there'll be enough groypers to run for office and get into all the STEM fields and whatnot, and then we'll win. Like, dude, you are way too optimistic, and you're
It's just a
also
big if we have
underestimating
time.
you're underestimating the shit out of our enemy.
Again, our enemies are very, very. They're stupid, and because of their stupidity, they can be rather foolhardy and just try to just shoot. They're very violent.
Yeah, they just go for it.
Well, sure, the minions are morons, but it doesn't mean their masters aren't.
Yeah, we can't forget that they're not the ones running their own show. Like we though those of us on the right, we often think that the blue-haired freaks are the ones like
Oh, they're not
who
the
are
ones pushing the strings.
who are both acting and planning all this shit. No, they're not. They only
No.
act, and they only act on orders. They are taking orders. Did you guys see Gavin Newsom's office, whatever the fuck that means, on Twitter, saying
Yes.
Stephen Miller's a fascist? Like, that is obviously a hit. Like, that's putting a hit out on someone while trying to keep plausible deniability. It's so obviously that. And this is after Charlie Kirk's
Basically.
assassination. This is after the right has started to finally come together and, give up on trying to talk things out. And they're still that open about their intentions, their agenda, their strategy. They're still open about all of it. Like, let's just call for violence now, but also keep plausible deniability. It's amazing. But anyway, back to Andrew Wilson. Did you formulate your thoughts on that, Scurvy?
Unfortunately, no. My mind got sidetracked because we started talking Fuentes, and the first thing that came to my mind was it's a clip that I keep watching over and over and over again, and it's him reacting to the
Into
fucking
Minions
minion.
2.
What?
You know my mind too
Banana!
well. Minions 2,
Banana!
The Rise of Gru. Banana! that, you know me too well. You know me too well.
Well, you're both autistic,
I think that just
so
goes
there
back
you
to
go.
it does track. But that actually, funny enough, Discovery goes back to what Arceus was just talking about on how Nick is just too on it. Or you can just have moments like that on his show.
Yep, and nobody is like laughing at him either.
It's funny. I watch this show and I don't know what you guys are talking about, so maybe I don't watch it as closely as you guys do, or
It's
something.
a clip from an episode.
Oh, I don't even
years
watch it
ago,
at
and
all.
I don't watch it. Not really. I only know Nick Fuentes from clips from his show I see on Zitter. That's
Oh.
it.
So it's not a recent clip? Well,
Oh no,
It must not be,
No,
because I
no.
would have known about it.
because that clip was from like 2022. So,
Oh.
because that's when the movie came out.
Oh. Yeah, I don't even know what Minion movies are out. I don't even know that much.
Oh come on, Ark. Yeah,
Neither do I.
you have a young kid. You should know what the minions are. If she's not
I mean,
obsessively quoting them.
I know what they are, just I haven't gone out of my way to like make sure she's exposed to all the kids stuff that's out there. Like I kind of forgot Minions is even a thing.
Yeah, I see. I got you.
So
Not entirely sure how. They're more yellow than my eyes.
do you want more time to think about what I said about Andrew Wilson? 'Cause I still have a
I don't
still
mind.
have one or
I kind of lost my thought.
well, I still have one or two more things to add, and it's really just supplemental. It's not. I've made my point for the most part already. I was thinking of a scenario, a hypothetical, and it's a shame you guys didn't see my debate with him or listen to it. And it's a shame. It's an even greater shame that it wasn't recorded. And if anyone's listening to this and you get that recording, please send it to me, because I don't know. I looked for it and I couldn't find it.
I don't think the guy who was monitoring that was even recorded.
I don't think so either. But there's still a chance someone somewhere recorded it. But anyway, I came up with a scenario to even further explain why I think Andrew Wilson might just be a sociopath. I'll sort of reiterate what I already said before I make this point. We already established, like, we don't know what he even wants. What is he fighting for? Is it anything at all? We don't even know the answer to that. But also, in his failure to even distinguish friend from foe, it's not that I don't think he can tell. I think it's just he doesn't give a shit. The way he was debating me, just the debate itself, was deeply in bad faith. And I came up with this hypothetical to explain it. So imagine you're about to move into a house where one or two people already live. Like you're gonna rent one of their rooms, and you get in there, you step into the house, and then you notice it is utterly filthy in every sense of the word. There's trash everywhere. There's cat piss and dog shit everywhere. It's just filthy. Mm-hmm. And you say, we need to clean this up. And that's all you say. You just say, we need to clean this up. Like, that's first priority. Let's get this done. Let's clean it up. And as soon as you say that, imagine Andrew Wilson comes up right behind you and he says, well, what do you mean by clean? Explain that. Specify. What do you mean by clean? And you're like, well, get rid of the trash, maybe organize some things. And then he's like, well, explain how you're going to organize this exactly. Like, where is everything going to go exactly? You're not exactly going to have an answer to all that. Like, even if you had been in that house for a long time, you're still not going to know right off the top of your head where every last thing is going to go. And also imagine, like, he says, well, what are you going to clean it with? What are you going to clean the cat piss with? What are you going to clean the dog shit with? And you're like, well, cleaner? Why are you demanding these kinds of specifics? That is exactly how Andrew Wilson debates. He gets like autistically hyper specific on your points, and then he wants you to narrow down, or like to focus on a single one like tiny detail of something you said, and he tries to make it all about that. Like, imagine if you said like you're gonna get garbage bags or something to just at least clean up the garbage.
And then he says, "Oh, what kind of garbage bags?
Well,
Stuff like that." No, yeah, I get you.
well, I mean that, but also like imagine like you're like, okay, I'm gonna get some garbage bags to clean up the garbage at least, and then he's like, well, you realize that once you clean it up, it's just gonna get filthy again, right? Or like, where are you gonna take all this trash? Are you gonna find all like so many bins, so many empty bins that you can put all these garbage bags into? Are you gonna do that? You see what I mean? Like, you can't just say something obvious or good intentioned. If he disagrees with you slightly, he'll just do his best to obliterate your entire argument and make it seem like you are not well intentioned. You have no idea what you're talking about. And all he's after is to look good. All he's after is to make you humiliated so that he looks good and therefore he makes a profit because he gets clicks off of it. And all you fucking wanted to do was clean up this mess. That's Andrew Wilson. And that was my debate with him.
Reminds me of a Spoon quote.
That was my debate with him as well, where he just hyper focused on one point I made, and he tried to pretend that that was the entire point. Because what I wanted the topic to be was monarchy is better, and he said, "What do you mean by better?" And that's, I think I already explained like how he approached the word better. It was exactly that. And I was just like, okay, any or all of the definitions of better. Just pick one or pick all of them. That's what I mean. And he still couldn't approach the debate with that.
Oh, yeah.
And
I would have just asked him
it's on
what
purpose.
his metric for better is.
It's on purpose. It's not like he's super autistic and he just physically cannot understand what I mean. No, I think he knew. I think he well knew what I meant, what I was trying to get at. And he also knew that I'm not an enemy, but it made no difference. No difference. And then you combine everything I've explained about his approach to debates in general, and then you combine that with no one even knows what he stands for. Does he even know? All right, so that's my point. I don't think Andrew Wilson is a good person. I don't think he's not really even on our side. I think he's just on his own side. He's just out for the clicks. He's just out for the cha-ching. And it leads that kind of segues into the broader subject of this is kind of the right wing in general. What does Scrump do all day? He just tries to demoralize the right. That's all he does. There's nothing good faith about that either. What does Spoon do? He basically just bitches about things and intentionally leaves it there. He doesn't do anything more than that. This is our entire leadership. It's not just about like, well, these people got to make a living. Well, yeah, we all do. But even Bill Maher is a boomer liberal. And even he has an entire show, an entire second show where he just talks to people, where he just tries to find middle ground with people he disagrees with. What's it called? It's what's that show called? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Where he just
I don't.
No.
He just like sits in a chair. Let me look it up.
Well, you do. I'll try to finish a kind of half-joke comment I was trying to make earlier that's applicable to this. Funny enough, a quote from Spoon. Just because I point out that pissing on a house on fire is not going to put out the fire doesn't mean that I have a water truck behind me.
That's a Spoon.
Paraphrasing.
That's a Spoon quote.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's something he said.
Oh,
That was funny because that's what I thought of when you were describing how Andrew was asking you questions. Which being as I am that autistic, the way Andrew approached it definitely sounds like that excuse me. It sounds like a similar way that I would have approached it, just so I can understand how much someone has thought through what it is they're trying to propose. Even then, I don't think you were going in with the idea of, oh yeah, I know every single facet of what you think is better and how to excuse me, how do I put this? There's no pre-establishment between you and him as to what constituted as better, is my point. I mean, you may not agree with me on this observation, seeing as how, as you mentioned, on the same side, are both on the right. But as much as there are individuals who are capable of some level of thought, you're not going to have a all-encompassing standard as to what consists of something being better. Which, unfortunately, if Andrew Wilson is a disingenuous actor, gives him ground to argue the way he did when debating you. The point I'm making is I don't think our mission statement is clear enough. This is the impression I'm getting, that we could be much more clear, even if it is ridiculous that we are expected to know the answer to everything, and nobody can do that. It's clear that, at least to some extent, we've kind of fallen into the trap of being in our own little bubble between just the few of us. Which I'll let you get on to the next point you wanted to make. And I actually wanted to bring something up I brought up to you in private that I've since thought over a bit more that I think we could benefit from doing.
Yeah, all I was gonna say is there's nothing wrong with asking like, what do you mean by better? But when I say it once, it should be abundantly clear after that. Where when I say like, pick one, stability, the religious health of the country, enemies, dealing with enemies from within or preventing enemies from within. Just pick one or all of them. That's what I mean by better. It means cleaning up this fucking mess that we are currently in. And he pretended to still be completely clueless, and that's just a strategy. It's not that he's stupid. It's obviously a strategy to just and he's not in the business. This is my biggest issue with him. And I don't think anyone can fucking deny this, not even his staunchest supporters. He's not in the business of finding answers. He's in the business of making people look wrong. He's in the business of just winning. It's theater. He is not someone you can go to for answers or to help find an answer. Like, what does Andrew Wilson think about this? You can't do that with him. He's got money to make. And he's going to make that money by making you look like a fool, even if you're well-intentioned and you're on his side already. Doesn't matter. He does not distinguish between friend and foe. It's just about the clicks. And I hate that the right is ruled by these types. This is our leadership. It's like the neocons in the GOP and all the commentary debate bros, like all the commentary people. No one's genuine, and well, the genuine people, no one listens to us, and the people like I've made this criticism towards Spoon. You can like establish an audience, like you do what you have to get an audience, and then you can try to use the audience for something, like something meaningful. But none of them ever do that. Not even a little bit. I looked up what that show Bill Maher does. It's called Club Random. Bill Maher is a liberal boomer, and he still can make time to try to find solutions. And I'm sure he gets paid for it too. I'm sure he has a way to make plenty of money doing these talks. I'm sure Club Random makes money. Why can no one on the right do that? How can a liberal boomer do this? But nobody, not one person on the right can do this.
Well, I guess things just aren't bad enough for us on the right to actually start making some sacrifices. I'm gonna speak as someone who has a moderately comfortable life myself. Before anyone gets any ideas about me being some uh, pretentious rich elite behind an avatar, or more likely some anon with nothing going for me whatsoever. Which, by the way, that shouldn't really even matter either. Is something I know you were talking about unreliable voices on the right, but do either of you guys follow Arthur Kwon Lee by chance?
Yes, I do. I
I
know who you're talking
I
about.
have in the past a little bit. I just didn't find him all that interesting enough to keep following. But I don't
So
have any.
something I
I
noticed
don't
as
have any real
well.
issues with him.
I don't either, but not any real issues per se, but something I've noticed following him, and I do think this does tie back into the topic of today's episode. The right is not autonomous on our own, right? We are still very much dependent on the system as it is to some degree. Just to the left, and not only do we have our own elite working against us as well as uh, the elite of the left, but we already have our own classism within said ranks. We have people throwing crap at each other for being anonymous, for being poor, for being rich. Things are not bad enough for us right now, unfortunately. Fortunately, in many ways, but in this case, unfortunately, the incentive is just not there for people to rally and band together. And Scurvy, if you have anything you'd like to add at all, now's the
I will
time to do it.
say,
Because what I'm
yes,
going to talk about, what?
I will say the only classism that we should be having on the right is we need to get rid of the Indians from our ranks. I say this somewhat ironically, but also it's like, oh my goodness, there's so many of these like accounts that are out there that are clearly just Indians just trying to exploit the X algorithm to get a pretty penny from Elon Musk. But I'm also saying it ironically because it's also really, really funny.
Well, I mean,
Well,
agreed.
they're not all Indians. At least one of them's from Malaysia.
Ian and Miles Chong? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That dysgenic fucktard.
You know what? Slightly off topic. I find it funny that I mean, we're talking about foreigners. She's not strictly speaking a foreigner, just genetically, but I find it funny that like Vex is one of the most based people we know, and she's a Sri Lankan woman. I mean, she's from Canada, but like, ethnically she's Sri Lankan. Like that's almost Indian. I just find that funny.
Just don't let her hear you say that.
I have said that.
I don't think she'd care.
Yeah, she doesn't care because I have said that around her. She doesn't care. I think she finds it funny.
No, she just takes issue with being called Indian. She does take issue with that.
Oh, but no, I wasn't calling her Indian. Just like almost Indian. It's pretty close.
Yeah, you said almost, and that might be pushing it.
All right, maybe.
I'm just giving you a hard time since we're off topic.
But yeah, she like it's just incredible. Like she can, when you think of like a based woman, like she's basically the epitome of that, and she's not even white. I don't even think I've ever met any other Sri Lankans before. I don't know. It's just funny to me.
I know somebody
what are the
who's
odds?
part Sri Lankan. Pretty cute girl too, if I say so myself. But anyways, it's like going back to what I was saying before. Like, oh, actually, hold on. I actually got something new I'd want to add in regards to. I guess a lot of prominent right wing, prominent right wing accounts on X. It's like, so I noticed that they have a bit of a spirit within them in regards of like, I want things to change for the better, for the future, for my future family or whatnot. But it's like, but they still want to maintain the status quo that makes their lives so shitty in the first place. I don't get that, and to me it's just like, so your solution is to just reinforce what's already there, but make it better somehow, and you can't even define better.
I mean, let's be
Well, I think
honest.
that's just a measure of people being afraid of what they're unfamiliar with.
Yeah, I was
I mean,
gonna
I mean,
lean into that point.
yeah.
Like, really, what it comes down to is cowardice. Like, I've
And
made
that's a sin I have to grapple with constantly.
I made this point on Twitter a few weeks ago, several weeks ago. Um, the area I live in is very white and it's very peaceful. You know, I don't run into trouble hardly ever, even though I live in a very blue state. You know, I don't run into trouble all that often. It's really just one specific part of the area, but I always circle around it. I just don't go in there because everything around it pretty pristine for the most part. I could go into the bad area, but why would I do that? But if I saw things happening, I wouldn't even hesitate to act. It's just I hardly ever see anything. And I kind of wonder, like, should I go into the bad areas? Like, but what would that ultimately do? You know, putting myself at risk like that, would it really accomplish anything? Probably not. I don't think I'm a coward, but I don't know, maybe I am just as much as the rest of the right. Like, I want to do something, I just don't know, like, what action can I take to actually change something. I don't know.
The point you were leading to just now, that was one of the things I was going to bring up. I had another point that coincided with it, is that most people can't actually imagine things that they aren't familiar with. So it's a mix of cowardice and not knowing any better. And that's actually a part of our struggle, is trying to pitch something, a concept, ideas, to hope to come up with a plan for something that most people can conceptualize because they've never known it.
Yeah, there is such a thing as the fear of the unknown, but it's like if you're attaching a name to something and going in depth on it and on what it is like, is it really all that unknown? I don't think that's the case.
I'm not just talking about the fear, though. I'm not just talking about the fear. I'm talking about the inability to imagine, to think of something that you yourself are not familiar with. Most people just can't do that. They do not have the capacity for that kind of imaginative thinking. And that's a lot of what we're trying to push towards, something that is unfamiliar in our day and age. Now, sure, there's references to it throughout history in the past, both biblical and otherwise. But there's a difference between reading history, reading scripture, and looking at the past, and trying to draw inspiration from before for creating something new within the world we're currently in, with all of its unique circumstances and parameters. It's a Herculean task for the average mind.
Yeah, I see what you mean, and I think I agree. Um, I wanted to say this before Andrew Wilson sues me. Um, I
He's
know I'm
not gonna sue you.
I know I'm not an expert. I'm not any kind of psychologist or whatever or scientist. Okay, when I say you're a sociopath, it's just an opinion. The definition of which is a person with a psychopathic personality whose behavior is antisocial, often criminal. That part I don't think applies to you, Andrew, but the rest of the definition I think does, where it says, and who lacks a sense of moral responsibility or social conscience. But if you sue me, that just further reinforces my point. So if you do, thanks for doing that.
Discover anything you want to
See?
add?
I got nothing.
Okay, this could be a while. Archaeography, you already know what I'm going to talk about, because I've pitched it to you before and we've had some disagreements about it. I have since thought over some of the details, and the reason why I bring this up on the podcast is I do want feedback from as many eyes and ears. Okay?
Okay.
How many people here think the right has any correlation with each other at all?
Do you mean unity or just anything in common? What do you mean?
An organized unity. a network of any kind of people trying to get together for any reason. I can name one off the top of my head. Return to the land.
Yeah, that's
Any
all I can.
others?
That's all I can think of. Yeah.
Scurvy, can you think of any?
On the tiniest level, I guess you could say the group of Christian VTubers I'm part of, but that is, I wouldn't say that's a huge coalition. Generally speaking, what I notice is that there's not really any like huge like coalitions. I think that they tend to be a bit on the smaller scale. Like you mentioned, Return to the Land. That seems to be more. That seems to be like a smaller end coalition.
So I have your guys' answers for that question. I can't speak to the audience directly, of course, but I'm going to say if any of you answered differently, if you think the right is united in any way behind any common purpose, behind a leader, we're not. We are not at all.
But yeah,
Just if that
certainly,
wasn't clear already.
certainly not. And Trump is the closest we have to that, but he's a massive disappointment.
Yep. So since we've established the affluent voices on the right are at best useless and at worst malicious, that means it's up to everyone else to come together, which I think my fellow monarchist can agree with me on this one. The people don't do. So, what I'm proposing is not a means that will guarantee any kind of solid coalition at first, but I do think it can search, excuse me, it can serve as a search for a proper counter elite. Here's what I'm proposing. I have a couple names for this. Argosvino is one of these, but I'm not ready to make any claims as to what to call this until something actually comes of this, of which I have no clue. So it's going to be a long shot, but so is everything else at this point. There are three principles I think everyone on the right needs to rally behind. The first is Christianity. The second is nationalism. The third is monarchism. Anyone who ascribes to at least two of these principles, Christianity, nationalism, or monarchism, anyone who ascribes to those two, we all need to talk. Because right now, we are all way too isolated to even begin forming any kind of coalition at all. But we do need one. So, if you're not a monarchist, but you are a Christian and a nationalist, reach out to us, reach out to everyone you know. Just message anyone you can think of, anyone you follow, anyone who follows you, and just spread the word that there is a coalition forming. Just get rumors going. And what I'm hoping to see, if we can get this at the very least talked about, even if not us, there might be someone who could use that as an opportunity to prop themselves up from whatever support may amass around this to actually get things going. I realize there's a lot of holes in that idea, though I will reiterate it is an idea, not a plan. We're not in any positions to enact any plans anyway, so right now, all we have are ideas.
Yeah, I think
But I would definitely like feedback on that.
I like the idea. I think the best way to make it have any momentum, start to have any momentum, is people should focus on like we acknowledge these three things are the most important things. Monarchy will certainly be the least popular of the three, but
For
at
sure.
least these three things we focus on, like the closest we come to complete unity is we agree these three things are the most important. Whoever agrees to follow along with this plan should focus on at least one of those things and really get good at it, if for lack of a better way of phrasing it. Like, what do you want to focus on the most? Your faith, your Christianity, or your nationalism? Most people are going to choose one of those two. We focus on the monarchy part the most. But yeah, I think for the most part, as long as we agree, like, these three things, or at least the first two, It could get somewhere. However, I'm starting to believe in a different path. And I'm not completely committed to this yet. I probably will be, though. I think, especially like as a Christian, my faith reinforces this. You'll notice Jesus did not try to change the Roman Empire.
Yep.
He went after people. And I'm not even saying like we should, as monarchists, try to just go after individual people and try to turn them into monarchists. I'm not even saying that. But what I am saying is Christianity is an individual faith. It's not a political faith like Islam. It's about you and your soul. That's Christianity. Regarding the political sphere, how are we going to make changes? I'm starting to think we just can't. Especially when the right wing leadership is so fucking useless on purpose. Try to change things, not really so much anymore. But we can do better ourselves. And what I mean by that is for those of us like who do agree with each other, who are willing to come together in some way, that should be our focus, not the bigger picture. Like basically, and it can be online, people we know online, but focus on who you consider your family. Not so much focus on, because we've been doing this basically the whole time, focusing on people who should be our friends, or maybe even are our friends, but they're not very helpful. Or in Andrew Wilson's case, outright hostile if it's an opportunity for cash. Focus on what we already have, who we already are, and just focus on improving that, making the best of that. In fact, I think like we already have something going on. The three of us and white supremacy, kind of more loosely speaking, the monarchist community in general. Instead of we can live a monarchist lifestyle. We can follow a leader. You guys know that I'm very disappointed in my fellow monarchists because they won't do that, but they're still more likely to do that than non-monarchists. But Jesus did not try to change the Roman Empire. But Christianity still eventually conquered the Roman Empire. Or I should say took it over. It still happened. It took a couple hundred years, but it did happen eventually. But
on that note, I should probably clarify something about my idea then.
Okay.
I'm not suggesting this is to actually inflict change within the system itself. The point is to gather as many people as we can, in preparation for the system's collapse. To try to get people together in some way, or at the very least to get people to get together with other people. That's really all I'm calling for is just mass
some
awareness.
unity.
A call for unity of sorts. And that can work very well with what you were just talking about, Argyospi, about bettering ourselves, which, by the way, I'd argue actually necessitates doing what I proposed. Working on ourselves and our immediate families and living the way we prefer within those closest to us.
I see.
This is going to sound a bit embarrassing, but just wait till I make my point. So just for fun, lately, the YouTube algorithm just randomly threw one of these videos in front of me, and I've just been watching a shitload of them ever since. But have you guys ever seen those like mansion tour videos?
Don't think I have. I've seen other types of people flaunting their luxury things before, though.
Well, there are these like, one or two, maybe more, channels on YouTube where the guy doesn't own all of these mansions. He'd have to be as rich as Elon Musk, but he He just tours them when they're not occupied or owned. He just tours
I
them.
see.
And I was thinking, like, if we, our immediate community, or at the very least our friend group, our online friend group, at the very least, like if we like focus just completely on ourselves, like helping each other out in every way we can, but like being a unit in everything we try to do, maybe, and assuming the country even lasts long enough for this. I don't want to have like Nick Fuentes levels of optimism here, but just assuming this is likely or possible, we just focus on ourselves as much as we can, and eventually like we become successful enough that maybe we don't move closer to each other, but we could at least like have some sort of headquarters that we go to every once in a while to like meet in person and get to know each other in person, and spend
Meet in person. The VTuber? Meet in person? Nah, I get what
yeah,
you're saying.
yeah, I kind of forgot how secretive some people want to be still, but
No,
something like.
yeah, I'm just being facetious. It's actually a pretty good idea, not gonna lie.
And it would be cool if like we could, obviously we'd have to pool our resources. I don't think any of us are going to become like, worth hundreds of millions within our lifetime, unless inflation gets out of control and then $100 million isn't worth anything. But pooling our resources, we could collectively afford one of these mansions, and we just use it as a place to just like make our headquarters, so to speak. And we still focus on our own individual projects, but we're so unified that we can and we're willing to pool our resources for these kinds of things. Not, I don't just mean luxury. I mean to like actually maybe get things done down the road. But that's not our focus. Our focus in the meantime is to just simply improve things for ourselves and each other. Anyway, just an idea, just kind of brainstorming out loud.
I see.
Because I am losing hope that, because like we're monarchists, right? But America alone, I mean, this is the West in general now, but America, our country, is so mixed in every way: faiths, blood, everything you can think of. Very mixed. I am literally a mixed person.
As am I.
The chances that we can have a single king, like one king that rules all of America as it currently is, I think the odds of that are zero. Not astronomical. I think it's zero, because we'll never be unified enough for that everyone would be okay with a king. Even if monarchy became popular, there's still going to be half the country that doesn't want it. The left, mainly. The entire right could want a king, and still the left won't.
No, Chris just completely. Sorry, I'm sorry. I didn't hear anything you said for the past couple minutes. Service completely freaking died,
Oh.
so I missed everything you were just saying. So what did I miss?
I don't know when you cut out, so do you remember the last thing I said?
Oh,
Or the last thing you heard me
something
say?
about all of us getting a mansion. Yeah, something about us getting a mansion.
I don't want to go back that far. I'll just rewind to my most recent point, which is the country is far too mixed for the entire country to unite, or to be ruled by one king. Even if the entire right wing wanted a king, the left never will. And kings, when you really think about it, kings are really only good for ethno-states. When you have mixed blood, it just doesn't work with kings, because kings represent the people, and they kind of have to be, the people have to be the blood of the king has to be the blood of the people to a large extent. The best we can hope for is like to have multiple kingdoms, but it'll never be like the entire United States as it currently is under one king. That's just never going to happen.
So basically, we're still pushing for national divorce and hashtag Balkanize America
Yeah,
because that's the most sensible option.
yeah. And I was trying to make a point with that point, but I forgot. Ba-
Honestly, I could see how that could actually play out. In regards to a national divorce, I think it could happen peacefully. I mean, as soon as as soon as leftists realize that it's just like, oh, who's the people with the majority of the weapons are right wingers, so best that we leave them to their own devices. And who knows, this might be the first time they ever have some sense of self-awareness.
Honestly, the entire right wing should be united on this. United on, like, honestly, breaking the country up. Maybe we can have some sort of centralization, maybe, but breaking the country up for sure. As in, everyone moves around a little bit and then it becomes here are the right wing states, here are the left wing states. Like, what else are we going to do? Honestly, what else can we possibly do at this point? We cannot coexist with these people, but there's no plan on no longer coexisting with these people. Like, what is the right wing thinking? Like, it's just like sit around and wait until they're shooting at us and we'll shoot at them. Like, is that the plan? That's a stupid plan. Like, let's actually have a plan, as in, like, to get away from these people. There's plenty of room out there. We can establish entirely new cities and shit. Let the left keep, like Los Angeles, New York. Let the left keep all that shit. We can build new cities, I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but like, we have options here, and the right is not even trying to come up with any sort of plan. But divorce is the only thing we can do as far as peaceful options go. It's either divorce or we just try to wipe each other out.
See,
I think we all prefer the former option.
To bring up Return to the Land again, they're one example of a coalition that's already trying to do just that to some degree, which we can learn from, especially given all the roadblocks they're facing.
Is it legal? Because I kind of thought that was illegal to, like, establish any sort of territory where entire like ethnic groups and whatnot are not allowed. I mean, I don't know how the Amish get
Oh,
away with it, but I'm pretty sure that's illegal, isn't it?
so I might know how both of those work to some extent. And if anyone's done further research on this, or if you're from one of these groups, please let me know if I'm missing anything. So the Amish are able to get away with it because they are officially registered as a religion. And so that plays into religious freedom, the concept of religious freedom. And then Return to the Land is structured like a company in which each of its members are shareholders.
I just
Again, correct me if I'm wrong. Anyone who's listening and knows more about this.
I kind of just had an idea. Why don't we make it a
Okay.
religious thing? I'm not joking. I'm laughing, but I'm not joking.
No, no, I know. You're
Like
not the first person I've heard that idea from either.
like the Church of England, for example, like the Anglican Church is like strictly England, right? Like, why don't we just, like, especially since the Orthodox Church is not as centralized as Catholicism. They don't have a pope. They just have I can never say
we
the
have
guy's
our
I
we
can
have our patriarchs,
I
yes,
can never say
our
this guy's
ecumenical
name.
patriarchs.
Whoever the guy from Constantinople is, the something,
Patriarch Bartholomew.
yeah, Bartholomew, but like
What?
what's the
He's a
full
bit of
title?
a uh. Let's see. Mm,
Well, it's neither here nor there. He's not the Pope of Orthodoxy, is my point.
yeah, he's not.
Orthodoxy
He's one
is
of.
Orthodoxy basically is a giant confederation of churches, in a sense. Like, there's
I
the
don't
loose,
know.
you there is sort of a pope, but he's not really a pope. Like, he's just, you look up to him, but he doesn't give you orders. But it
Well,
is,
whether or not that's the case, it's kind of besides the point, isn't it? Because I think the point you're trying to make is that we try to become officially recognized as a legal religion, so that way we're a religion in the legal sense, but really we're just trying to push for our own ends while we still have stability and the framework to do so.
Yes, but also we can still like become our own independent religious groups and still be connected to already existing groups. That was the full extent of my point.
Right. So Scurvy would still be able to be Orthodox, and I'd still be a Latter Day Saint.
Yes. So, like, think of the Anglican Church if it was still part of Catholicism. It's a weird way to think about it, but kind of that, yeah.
But yeah, no, that's a good idea. I say you're not the first person to bring this up because there's another guy I follow on Zitter called Rogue Philosophy. He's a guy who was how do I put this? He's Do you guys know where Luddite is?
Luddite? I think so.
No, I've
I'm
never
not going
heard
to
of it.
pretend to. Well, I'm not going to pretend to understand being a Luddite fully well, but his approach is very much. He's more about returning to the past than even we are. Like he's aspiring to a Mongolian-esque lifestyle in Central America. Not sorry, Central Asia actually. It's it's a return to the past before the rise in technology and reject the modern technological landscape. Again, if I understand his view properly, and if off the off chance, Rogue Philosophy, if you're hearing this, let me know if I'm misrepresenting you, because I'd rather not. I bring him up because that's something actually he suggested, and I think he did bring up the Amish, or at least one, or at least some other group that they were able to organize in the way they wished because they were able to get legally recognized as a religion.
I see.
Which that kind of encompasses all of the ideas we've thrown out on the podcast today. When you really think about it, it's that sounds like one of those things where we can that kind of wraps around everything else that's been proposed that we can kind of just do at once. We get this established, and then we can work from there. Maybe that is our coalition if we decide to take this approach, and it's a matter of getting people to join. And we'd be, as Archaeos you described, a confederation of churches, quote unquote.
I don't see any path forward, peaceful or otherwise, where we don't where the country breaks up. Whether it's violent or not, there's going to be a breakup. For sure. Like
Yeah.
borders are going to be redrawn. States are going to become sovereign, not just part of a quote unquote union. Like it's stupid that we even call the states because they're not states. We're just provinces. I mean, that was the original intention when the country was founded, but that's not what it became.
Thanks, Lincoln.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what I was thinking. But no matter what, we're going to split up, like truly break up, not take orders from Washington anymore, or at least Washington will just become some sort of like maybe we. No, I was gonna say we like look up to Washington, but no, that's not gonna happen. Yeah, just we will break up violently or peacefully. It's going to happen, and we just need to get ready for that. And back to the main topic, because I don't want to make this the previous episode part two, not at least not entirely. One thing that's even more uncomfortable to acknowledge is our right wing leadership, by being so useless, is not just about getting the engine running. If our leadership is this useless, they're an obstacle. They're in the way. And I've been once again I've been kind of asking myself, who really is our enemy? Is it the left or is it the right wing leadership? I want to hear your guys' answer to this because I genuinely don't know what the answer is.
All right. What was the question?
Scurvy, have you seen Attack
Dude.
on Titan?
Bits and pieces.
It's
I
the
haven't seen
scene
the full
where
thing.
Erwin Smith. It's a scene where Erwin Smith is asking Eren Yeager who the real enemy is when he puts his hand on his shoulder. It's that
Ah,
scene.
I see. I see. Who are the real enemies? That's a good question.
I
That's
honestly,
actually a really good
I
question
honestly don't know if
because
it's
we do have.
our own
I think we
leadership
have.
or the left.
I think we have enemies on all sides. If I'm being honest,
When I
there's
when
there's
I
obviously the the leftists, but there's also the people from within the right that are just trying to basically re reinforce the status quo, but not quite the status quo. I kind of am repeating myself from earlier, but it's
Yeah,
like
we
they don't really want
Archaeosity covered that.
they don't really want the country to they don't really want the country to change because it's the same thing. Actually, it's the same thing with a lot of the culture war stuff, whether it's gaming or movies or comic books. It's like a lot of these people don't actually want their respective mediums to change because otherwise, how else are they? You know, they make their whole livelihoods off it, especially in the gaming scene. I mean, you just got to
Yeah,
take a
which
look
we
at people like Smash JQ
no,
or
no, no,
Hypnotic.
no, no. Especially in the everything scene, the Israel
yeah,
shills, the Andrew Wilson types, everyone on the right
yeah, Scurvy, we covered this earlier in the stream.
has made their
That
living
that was
off of
the
the current
concept
system.
Archaeosity and I were getting. That
I
was the whole
see.
point of what Archaeosity and I were discussing earlier.
I must it must have been the part where I didn't join yet, or maybe I have, and I'm a little out of it today, fellas. Not gonna lie.
No worries, I'm sure the stream's picked up all sorts of things on my end since I can't get any good service the whole time.
But yeah, overall, my point is like, is our enemy the enemy, the left, or is it the people pretending to be our friends? Who is the greater enemy? When I brought up to Andrew Wilson, when I challenged him to a debate, it was after I was talking to Orthodox Luigi, whatever his official name is. I was
You
already
could call him Ben.
sure. I was already talking to him a little bit about like, because he's a monarchist. It's unfortunate he's not more intertwined in our circle, but he's a monarchist, and we were already discussing like republics need to end. Republics are bullshit, which he agrees with. But when I brought up like I want to debate Andrew Wilson, I brought Luigi or Ben, sorry, into that post. I tagged him as well, saying like, well, maybe if he's willing to debate Andrew on monarchy, Andrew would be more attracted to that because Ben has a much bigger audience than I do. And Ben responded by saying, we shouldn't be attacking other right wingers. That's retarded. And my retort to that to him, and I'll say it now, is we need to figure out, those of us on the right, we need to figure out what the fuck we stand for. But we also need to find out who our friends are. Because
Yeah.
I no longer think Andrew Wilson is a friend to the right wing. He serves Andrew Wilson. Andrew Wilson serves Andrew Wilson. And
I also think
there's a lot
that
of people.
applies to. I also think that applies to so many of the people. So many of the people in like the gaming discourse. They're just disaffected liberals. They're not actually right wing because if you look at what they actually believe, it's just a bunch of liberal nonsense. I can't really say that someone like when shit really does go down and we're kind of picking up the pieces. I can't really say that someone like I have to bring him up again. Is just the first person that came to my mind is Smash JT. I don't think he would exactly be a great ally in if at all in terms of rebuilding because he doesn't want real change that actually promotes prosperity. He just wants the same liberal bullshit that just he just wants like the 2010s again before all this feminist nonsense just started really bubbling up and all that. The same with a lot of these people. Like
Yeah.
even some people who are a bit more to the right of him, like Chibi Reviews. It's just like, oh, I'd fucking don't like that guy either. I wouldn't trust him. I wouldn't trust him with anything, because all that guy wants to do is just have the ability to jack off to whatever the fuck he wants. Not an ally to me. Not somebody who is interested in at creating creating a long lasting empire that's built that's Christ first.
Yeah.
Well, let's start with the community, and then maybe see if we can go to building a kingdom before that.
Now I'm just saying, if like when if Boogaloo happens, that's another way you could put it on YouTube, Boogaloo.
Yeah,
But
we should focus on that. Like, I agree. But it also helps to know who our enemies are. And it's difficult, but we need to start acknowledging it might be the right more than the left. Because when your own leadership, or at the very least when the more prominent figures within your side are not only useless, they are purposefully, intentionally useless. They're just the enemy within your gates, but still the enemy. And which enemy is closer to you, the one within the gates or outside the gates? Obviously within. And so when Luigi Ben, when he's like, it's retarded for right wingers to attack each other, I'm kind of thinking, dude, that might be the wisest move, actually. Look at the state we're in. I say this all the time, sorry if I sound repetitive, but look where we are. Our right-wing leadership did not prevent the current situation, and they're not getting us out of it. They're not doing anything. You know why the left is now shooting at us? Because they know they can. They feel more empowered than ever. How did our own leadership stop this? They didn't. And they still have no intention of going back to a time when the left was not shooting at us. They're still not trying. Maybe a lot of the right is more of the enemy than the left. Not sure what to do about it if I fully commit to that conclusion, but I'm pretty close.
Well, if you do, I've already provided the solution. Start getting the word out about just the idea of real change. See who hops on board, see who doesn't, see who tries to put it down. It's a good filter if you think about it.
yep,
'Cause we're already talking
it's an
about who
actual
wants real
filter.
change and who doesn't. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Because we're
it's
already
it's
talking
an
about who wants real change and who doesn't.
yeah, it's an actual filter, and not the kind of filters you see from supposed right wingers of saying, "Oh, it's just a drawing, man," or "It's just pixels on a screen." I'm a degenerate. This is the stuff I whack off to. It's like that. Apparently,
Right.
that qualifies as a filter these days.
So I'll reiterate, right? Because these are the things that all three of us at least agree on. Christianity, nationalism, and monarchism. Start spreading that, and then we can work from there. Start spreading that, and then we'll see who we can work with and who we have to work against.
Yeah.
I fully agree.
Yeah, I agree with that too. It's just it's gonna get a bit ugly before it gets pretty.
Oh, it always does, though. It always does.
Because, like, for example, you guys know, and I'm at this point, I'm completely open about this. I'm no friend of Spoon anymore. I treat him as an enemy now because he's one of our biggest monarchists, and he is purposefully useless. Purposefully. Like, he's admitted he doesn't want to be any sort of leader. It's like, dude, you're still at the front line, though. Like, when people are entering our community, your face, your utensil face, is one of the first faces that people see when they dip their foot into monarchy at all. You're there first most of the time. And when you're purposefully not trying to help the cause, like, that's a problem. That is a hell of a problem.
I mean, I understand it's like when it comes to the whole leader, by the time somebody does become king. But it's like in a community like this, it's like I'm starting to see where you're coming from here. It's like I think some people misinterpret that it's like, oh, like, are you asking Spoon to be a king? And it's like, no, no, no. I don't think that's what you're saying. Like, if I'm getting at the correct idea,
More
but
than
he
anything, I'm
is.
asking him to stop putting monarchy anywhere in his videos or in his bios. Like, stop pretending that you care about the cause. Like, just say like put your bio as like funny man who says funny things in a funny accent, you know? And like if people figure out you're a monarchist, fine, but just don't be upfront about that. It's not helping us. I hate how much people look up to you, even though you don't want it. You openly say you don't want it. Well, guess what? They still do. Like Amalgamite, for example, she's not a monarchist, but whenever she like even brushes across the subject of monarchy, she brings up Spoon. Like that needs to fucking stop.
But honestly, that's telling me something. It's like I think to Spoon, I'm gonna be obviously, if Spoon is listening to this, I like you a lot, but I think this is God telling you something that it's like people look up to you. I look up to you. I call you my Oshi for a reason.
Yeah, fucking
Amalgamite references
man
you
up and
when it comes to
accept the responsibility.
monarchism. It's like I think God is telling you that you are clearly building something that's good, uh and that could really go somewhere. But you gotta accept his call. You gotta accept the call of the Lord, because it's so obvious. It's so fucking obvious, that it's like you could do so much more. And even though you are in the shithole that is South Africa, it's like this transcends that border. This absolutely transcends that border, because you have monarchists in America, Europe, all Asia, all over the world, that listen to you, and you could really do something good here. You can, you know, actually start being a leader. You don't have to be a king. I'm not saying you have to be a king. I sure as hell ain't qualified to be a king either. But clearly, you have a style and method that convinces people to be a monarchist. But you're not. Why stop the snowball? Why stop the snowball?
Yeah, he purposefully
On that
stops
note,
the snowball. That's what pisses me off. Man up and just accept this is kind of what you're called to do. Like you said, Scurvy, man up and accept it or get completely out of the way. Pick one.
Lead, or in the words of that movie Idiocracy, you either lead or follow or get out of the way. And that quote
I'll
is
say,
is meant to be, you're supposed to lead or follow. Get out of the way ain't an option.
yeah. I'll say this much real quick, and then I have a point I was wanting to make a few minutes ago, but service cut out yet again. I wouldn't be a monarchist without Spoon. I think that only goes to show just how exacerbated the issue is. I wanted to be a monarchist without Spoon. But as has been mentioned on the podcast before, he's done nothing but bring people to monarchism, and that's it.
And then
That's the
leave them
point
in the
I'm.
desert. Like he gets them off of the ship. Like, they're in a stormy sea of like, where do I go? I'm trying to navigate. Like, and he's like that lighthouse that, like here's the shore. And then once they get off the boat, he's just like, all right, there's the desert. Have fun. Just leaves them to die after basically saving them, ideologically speaking. Okay, you may as well have just left them in the stormy seas, just left them there. Like, just man up, accept your calling. People look up to you whether you want to be looked up to or not.
I'll say this much. Back to the point I'm trying to make. There's actually something that Lamented Guide pointed out in the Accords. Someone, I don't remember who, and I'm sorry if I forgot who you were, brought up that post that you, Archaeosophy, made about I think it was about what you were uh, talking about with Andrew, and he was asking Lamented to refute it. And Lamented, to your credit, you didn't. And you pointed out quite clearly that most monarchists don't want to be the leader or in charge. And not only that, that most people, you can't make them a leader. You're either born with the, paraphrasing here, with the potential to be a leader, or you're not. And I'll say this much on the topic of people with high influence and high amount of respect and admiration not helping us out in any way. And I want to issue this challenge. I am a nobody for all intents and purposes, right? I hide behind an avatar and a very small social media presence. In spite of this, along with Archaeosophy, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring of being a potential leader. Yep. Yeah, you heard me right. Literal nobody. None of you wants to start taking any leadership positions. My hat's in the ring. Well, I'm going to back Archaeosophy because he's been pushing for this the most hardest, more than anyone, so he has my support there. But if you have an issue with a nobody claiming to take charge, well, you better come and talk to me about it then. To us, really. Because you guys aren't doing crap.
If people
That's
do
all
try
I
to challenge you, I just and then go, oh my goodness, I don't like your tone. It's like you. That's how you know you could discard that motherfucker. They're not going to be good. They're not going to be good allies. They're just trying to get in the way. And
Oh,
we
I'm not even
and
thinking about that. I'm talking about the fact that I am somebody with no notoriety of any kind and really no ground in which to prove I'd be any capable leader whatsoever. And I'm a better candidate for a leader than these people who we've been talking about the whole stream. That's my point. A literal nobody would be better taking charge than these people. And that's my challenge to any who listen to it.
Yeah, you are right. Like, objectively, you're correct, because our leadership has led us to this shithole. So clearly, the answer does not lie in anyone who's already up there, up on the upper tier. Clearly, it's none of them, because this is where we are. So it's got to be someone different. And it goes back to my point of, okay, we've established that, but what's in our way? Well, the very people that are being useless. They're not just not getting the engine started. They're an obstacle.
And
Like,
new people.
I would my respect for Spoon, and actually for the entire right wing leadership and prominent figures, just everyone who's like a sort of in any way right wing elite. My respect for all of them would rise substantially if they would at least just reinforce somebody who is willing to take charge. Just back them up. I said this to Scrump actually directly. Like, I criticized him some point he made, and Lamented like came to his rescue and shit, and I just got annoyed with both of them. But one of the last things I said was, okay, so like, yeah, it's all top down. Power is top down. All this shit is top down. Fine. So you guys are above, or not Lamented, but like Scrump, Scrump and Spoon, Aiden, they have tens of thousands of followers. Any of you guys could back up someone else, like a different monarchist who doesn't have that kind of following, but they have the spirit. Back them up. Why won't you back them up? And I got no answer. Of course I didn't get an answer. And I'm not talking about myself. Like, it could be someone like you, Autist. Like, back somebody up. If you're not going to be useful, stop being in the way. Is that such a tall
I wasn't
order?
just making. Yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't just making an example. I am actually throwing my hat in the ring.
Well, yeah, there
And
you
any
go.
other nobodies who want to be leaders and think, or at the very least, think they have the potential to do so, I encourage you to do the same. By all means, don't just let me be the crazy guy to just throw himself onto the stage and say, "Hey, look at me! I'll take on anyone who takes on me." By all means,
You know
willing
what?
and able.
Here's an interesting thought. I never thought about this before this exact moment. But Bennett, I don't know if he still has this in his bio. Probably not. I haven't checked, but at least for a while, Bennett had in his bio that he follows me. Like he literally had it.
Specifically, that you were his right hand, that he was your right hand man.
Yeah, yeah.
Man.
But that's still an indication of like I follow this person, not like I'm subscribed to this person, but like this person is my leader. Just that.
Oh,
Just that. If a lot of us did that, especially toward the same person, just that would make a difference. It would get the ball going, or the snowball.
you know what? I
rolling.
realized something just now. I realized
Yep, go
something.
ahead.
You know how there's so many like Groypers on Twitter that all have like the name Groyper on their like on
Yeah.
their at for their at or in their name.
Yep.
That's I was actually thinking about that. It's like if something like this were to get rolling, that is something we should try to aim for. Is have something in relation to our cause, whether it's monarchist or just another or just our own or just our own little faction, or could be bigger, because we are trying to encompass many sects of Christianity, not just one, two, or three. Like we could absolutely get the ball rolling in that.
Yeah, that would help. Like maybe come up with a word, like a completely new word, like
it would
Groyper.
get the name out there. It would get the name out there.
Well,
Yeah.
I said earlier when I pitched my idea that I wasn't going to call it anything yet until I knew we got the ball rolling on that idea. But, I mean, Skirky, since you brought it up, and out of curiosity, I've already told you this as well when I first pitched it to you. I have a name for this already.
Oh, let's hear it.
Yep. Do you know what the word treyarchy means?
He's mostly asking you,
Anyone?
Scurry, because we've already talked about this.
Treyarchy as in like I'm
Try.
confused. I know. Oh, triarchy. I thought you were like you said Trey, not. Oh yeah, I know what a triumvirate is. If that's what you mean.
Yeah, so you have the Trinity in Trinitarian Christianity, for example. Treyarchy is just another kind of just another structure of that. It's a structure of three things. Like you have the three entities of God as per the Trinity, or if you believe as I do, you have the three personages that make up the Godhead. If you look up what Treyarchy means, which you could probably go ahead and just do right now and see if my explanation is still correct. Conceptually, if you look it up, I'm pretty sure it means, last I looked into it, the rule of three persons, three people. It's the rule of three, which
Yep.
I personally think is a redundant concept and definition, considering all that really describes is an oligarchy with a specific number of members on the top. But since it's a bit of an absurd that has a redundant definition, we can take it, keep part of the inspiration for its definition, and make it our own thing. Like, say, for example, you take away the concept of rule of three people and you replace it with the three principles,
Oh.
like what I described earlier. And I already said what those are, of course, as I would propose them being Christianity, nationalism, and monarchism. Now, Archaeosophy said that we could probably get people to agree on at least one of those three things, but if we want a stable coalition, I would
It's gonna
personally,
be
at
either
least
Christianity or nationalism.
for the most part, yes. But then you have guys like Okairo who aren't Christians, but he is a nationalist and he has a monarchist. Is a monarchist.
Yes.
So the point is, if you ascribe to at least, I think it should be two, or he has to be pitched one. But really, as long as you're willing to hear us out and join in on this, the point is, in this treyarchy, it is a rule of these three principles: Christianity, nationalism, and monarchism. And even if you don't ascribe to all three of these principles, none of them are negotiable.
Mm-hmm.
So the first sacrifice everybody's going to have to make when being a part of this is making some kind of concession, unless you're one of us three, and accepting a part of an ideology, be it a religion or a political structure, something that you otherwise wouldn't be on board with, under the condition that you will get the other things you want out of it. It's a new name. Well, it's not a new name, but it's an old word with a redundant definition repurposed for a new and old cause.
You know, I
So
was.
what?
Oh, God.
So what are we gonna call ourselves? Like triarchs?
Treyarch is what I was thinking.
I see.
Like, for example, I'd probably change my screen name from Monarchical Autist to Triarchical Autist, for example. Or at the very least, I'd change that in my handle.
I would drop the autist part entirely. But that's just me.
And just go with Monarchical, or in this case, Triarch.
I mean, like,
Cool.
you put your hat into the ring,
I mean,
right?
I've thought about it.
Like, do we
Yeah.
do we really like want to rally behind someone who, like, that's his name is like autist something? So like we can think about it over time.
Fair enough.
I was thinking.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I was thinking.
I know I'm changing my name next year. Oop, I said too much.
I was thinking.
Oh, we'll change
that-
our names together.
I was
I
thinking.
already have a name in mind. And
Okay,
then
but
again,
anyway,
it's just
back-
for
okay,
my re-debut, so
Right,
I was
sorry,
thinking
Mark,
that because you guys know, especially when I made my first video on this subject, however long ago it was, months ago, my first starting a monarchist society video. Even way back then, you guys have known this about me. I've always thought that I am more fit to be a second in command type than first in command.
and I still agree
I-
with you on that.
I would much rather back up my leader than be the leader. And I also think like a leader needs to be a lot more not mu- I don't want to say a people pleaser, but like someone who can be likable with the average person, which I am not, and I've never tried to be. You know, like I don't have the qualities that, you know, someone that everyone should be looking up to should have. I'm more of a muscle guy. Like, what do you need done? I'll get it done. Like, just give me the order. That's the kind of person I am. And yeah, if there's someone who like is one worthy of the role, and two, I'm willing to have them be my leader. Yeah, I'd love to be their muscle, so to speak. I don't mean that in a gang sort of sense to anyone who's listening in bad faith here, but you know what I mean. Most people should know what I mean.
no, yeah, I get you. I get you.
Now, I guess all that's left to consider is if there's any questions that any of us have, just maybe to clarify some of the things we talked about here today. See if we're all on board with each other first and foremost.
So did I spell the name right in the chat?
I mean, it looks right,
I
I guess.
Oh, right, in chat. I'll double check it, and I can just message it on the server if what you spelled out there is incorrect. But for now, I think it's right.
I will definitely pray on this, of course. That's for sure.
Always good to do. Well, I think we've covered everything, but I also have to get going, so this might be a good place to end the stream, unless you guys had more to say. I do have a few more minutes.
I do want to apologize real quick for the amount of background noise on my part.
You can hardly
That
hear it.
episode, I'm sure.
Can barely hear it.
Oh, that's good to hear, because I figured it was going to be hell for you to edit out.
I don't know if you guys do, but I always use headphones when we're doing this. So if
Oh yeah,
anything's,
same here.
Yeah,
if
I do.
anything- Yeah, if anything's gonna be picked up on someone else's end, I will hear it, and I haven't heard much from you, so you're good.
But yeah, I'm basically I'm basically all good here for now.
I'm still backing Arceus because he's done more than I think anyone to try to make something of this. But if there's anyone else who can and is willing to and able to step up, please do. and not just one person either, for goodness sake. You know, because a coalition is a group of groups, more or less. So if more people can do this with their own friends, or really within their own family, even the better. Especially since everyone on the right is so spread out across the West.
I'll be sure to let my my small coalition I'm already part of know about this if they're interested.
And I feel I should say something a bit brutal, but it's necessary. Anyone who's listening to this who has like a large following, I'm sure Andrew Wilson will listen to this, but you know, maybe Spoon or Scrump, anyone with a larger audience than any of us who listens to this and they're like, oh, look at these guys, you know, they have plans for stuff. It's like, yeah, at least we do.
Never underestimate a Spurg and his determination.
Yeah.
Like,
Amen.
I am determined that one day Spoon will join me on stream before I graduate grad school.
But my point is, like, at least we're fucking trying. More than I can say for any of you fucks. Which, for all I care, you guys are all my enemy now anyway. You only get in the way. Especially if you're going to say shit like that, like criticize us for trying when we have no audience. Fuck off. You're part of the problem. If you want to not be part of the problem anymore, get on board. Back one of us up. Otherwise, fuck off. That's my message to them. Anyone who has that criticism of us, at least we're trying.
Can you guys hear me still?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Just more connection stuff on my end. I'll say this last thing real quick. And I understand if this may not be the case for you guys, but my DMs are open on Twitter, on X. So if you want to reach out to any of us, and for some reason you don't want to reach out to Scurvy Rum or Archaeosophy, well, why don't you give me a piece of your mind then? Whether in support or to mock, don't care.
I'm sure.
I'll hear you out. I will hear you out.
I'm sure a few freaks will take you up on that offer, because they always do.
I prefer to keep my DMs to be mainly for either business or talking and such. And mainly DMs for me are just if I need to ask like a friend a question or just send something funny in a group chat or talk with like an artist. That's what my DMs are primarily for.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. But as I have the benefit of not having a following really whatsoever or any kind of audience, I don't have a whole lot to follow if I get knocked off.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I didn't have any chance to talk about my new horse ears, but I guess that's that could be for another time.
You mean how they look terrifying?
Terrifying. I plan on being in America's Next Top Model. I'll let you know.
On our own time, yeah.
yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
I'm just giving you a hard time, Scurvy. I'll see you guys later.
I know. All right, catch you guys later.